Property theft has spiked in the area the past year due to easy access for thieves. Almost 80% of car theft occurs because of unlocked doors. Locking your doors takes a matter of seconds and can become so routine that you may forget whether you locked your doors or not. But it's worth the effort to double check. The more successful thieves are at taking items out of a car, the more chances they are going to come back to that area. Don't let our town be that area. One simple precaution is to hide or cover any valuable items when leaving your car unattended. Simple actions like these can prevent you from becoming a victim of property theft. The Los Angeles Police Department would like you to remember, lock it or lose it.
Warn this will be a quorum call for the council meeting for Tuesday, September 13th. Thank you, Mr. Englander, Mr. Weezar, Mr. Rosendahl, Councilmember Zine. We're here in chambers. Excuse today, Mr. Cardenas and Mr. Weezar. Mr. Weezar? Mr. Weezar, you are excused. But you're here in spite of that. Well, thank you, sir. And we're looking for the following council members. Please come to chambers. Mr. Alakon, Mr. Koretz, Mr. Krikorian, Mr. Lebonge, Mr. Parks, Ms. Perry, Mr. Reyes, Mr. Wesson, and Mr. Garcetti. And we do have a presentation. Actually, we have two presentations, impromptu presentations today. Mr. Englander, are you ready for your presentation?
Father, if we come.
Okay, and there's another presentation today also from Mr. Lebonge. We have a rather light agenda this morning. As soon as we get our 10 members, we'll get underway. Again, we're looking for our quorum, and we need Mr. Alakon, Mr. Koretz, Mr. Krikorian, Mr. Lebonge, Mr. Parks, Mr. Perry, Mr. Reyes, Mr. Wesson, and Mr. Garcetti. Please come to chambers. Thank you. Mr. Englander, when you're ready for your presentation, we can begin that program. is now another quorum call for the City Council meeting for Tuesday, September 13th. It's 10:08. Thank you, Mr. Englander, Mr. Weezar, Mr. Lebonge, Mr. Reyes, Mr. Rosendahl, and Councilor Zion Garcetti. We are at 7. We need 3 more to begin our meeting. So we are looking for Mr. Alarcon, Mr. Cardenas is excused today, Mr. Koretz, Mr. Corey, and Mr. Parks, Mr. Perry, and Mr. Wesson. At 10, we can begin our meeting. Thank you. Mr. Wesson has arrived. We are at 8 members. We need 2 more to begin our meeting. Mr. Engler, are you ready for your presentation? Mr. Lebonge, you have a presentation? Are you ready to go? All right, let's go live. We are live. We are start with presentations while we await the arrival of the quorum. Mr. Garcetti? You part of the presentation, or Mr. Lebonge? All right, we're going to start with the presentation while we await the arrival of the quorum.
Well, I do not care what you say. I do my business wherever I go. No, you do not command me!
But in our journeys through and beyond it, we become the more wiser of our place within.
I've heard that. Who wrote that?
I did.
Maury Rothwein has numerous talents and gifts to share with the world. The world may not last without the influence of Maury Rothwein.
You know, every year when we think about putting the rules out for the next year, and one of the thoughts that inevitably crosses our mind is, my God, can we do that again? And then I think of these young people. And I think of their faces, and then I think of their words. And I know for sure we'll do this again.
Does it make Phillips screwdrivers?
Mama, make a song.
What does he do?
He, goes to Berkeley. And after that, he'll be out there. In the world.
He lives in the streets, so he's a bum. So what does he think paying for your...
I pay for my own things. I am and an independent woman, and so is he.
He's a woman?
And it's this incredible festival. We take submissions from playwrights 19 years and younger from all over the country. It's the only national festival that culminates in a production of a young person's play.
Name one film that you think shows a woman in a strong, positive light.
What is this, a test?
Yes, this is a test. I hope you brought a number 2 pencil.
I'm sorry, I didn't have time to prepare. All right, how about Crimson Tide?
There were no women in it.
I told you I wasn't prepared.
I'm very grateful to all of the artists who make this happen every year. But the group of people that I'm most grateful to is you. Thank you for coming and seeing the work of these young writers.
And let's have a big hand for the Blank Theater right now on their 20th anniversary. I'm joined by my great colleague, Eric Garcetti, our president of the city council, and behind me is the leadership of the Blank Theater, a very special place on Santa Monica Boulevard. We're right there in the heart of the south section of Hollywood. There's a theater after theater after theater, but there's only one Blank Theater, and there's only one that's really inspired all the other theaters to be a great farm of theaters, if I could, on what it was the greatest highway in America, Route 66, the mother lode, which Santa Monica Boulevard once was. But the theater was founded in 1990. They're celebrating their 20th anniversary. It was founded by Daniel Henning, who you'll hear from in a few minutes, and also a great one here, Noah Wiley, who is so special, and Herb Wesson loves his work, came up, and when Herb congratulates you about something, that's special. Okay. But I'm going to ask my colleague, Mr. Garcetti, to say a few words, because he and I work together, as we all do, in trying to enhance our neighborhoods. Your help is immense, Eric, in this theater row. Mr. Garcetti.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. LaBonge. And I'm so pleased to join with Mr. LaBonge to celebrate, first and foremost, the best theater city anywhere in the world, Los Angeles. We have more theaters here than in New York City. We've got more talent here, I believe, than anywhere on the face of the earth. And it is no place better reflected than at Blank Theater. Blank Theater is on Santa Monica Boulevard. It also is up at Hollywood Boulevard, the Stella Adler Theater, and has done some of the most important productions that we have seen, not just in this city, but in this world. It is incredible to see the talent that has been assembled, whether it is a cutting edge new play that they put on or whether it's something that is a revival. They have been able to show that Los Angeles is a theater town. People think of us as a movie and a television town, but we are first and foremost also a theater town. Daniel Henning is an angel in the city of Angel, to quote Tom LaBonge, somebody who has not only invested in the productions of his theater, but who's also invested in new talent. We think these things happen automatically, that those who are meant to be the next star, the next playwright, the next screenwriter, the next showrunner, just kind of come out of the woodwork automatically. They don't. They come because things like the Young Playwrights Festival, the workshops that they put forward, the ability to find people and then to help them craft their art means that the stories of today will be told for many years to come here in Los Angeles. You know, if we were cavemen and cavewomen, we'd be in the evening time sitting around the cave watching the shadows of the firelight dance off the walls of the cave as stories were told. Now, those stories are told in theaters, and they're put on celluloid or now digital media throughout the city of Los Angeles. And Los Angeles is the place where the stories of the world are told, the tragedies and the triumphs, the difficult issues. We were just talking about this weekend, Noah being in a reading of a kind of assemblage of stories about 9/11. Sometimes the most difficult things in life we don't know how to begin to tackle when we just talk about them in a literal manner. But when they're told through human stories, we can connect with the universality of what theater is all about. So for Ed Murphy, also our amazing managing director, and the entire board and team that keeps this going, theater in Los Angeles, while it may be the best theater town, is a labor of love. A lot of people, the audiences aren't as well trained as other places to come out, and we encourage Angelinos to discover the Blank Theater and to discover Theater Row and to discover those great stories that are being told every single day here in Los Angeles. There's also a workshop series that I wanted to highlight that to me has been very meaningful that Blank Theater does too, the Living Room series, which gives these theater artists a chance to hone their skills. This means that they will be able to move on to do, whether it's in film and television or in theater, to do the sort of work that touches people and changes the world. And so congratulations on your 20th anniversary. When you look at the folks who have been able to be their alumni, if I can read this with Mr. Labange: Chris Pine, Jerry O'Connell, Mike Farrell, Molly Shannon, Edward Asner, Deborah Messing, Barbara Bain, Sally Kellerman, Noah Wiley, Tony Award winners Alice Ripley, Gregory Ibarra, and Daisy Egan. It is incredible to see who has gone through this talent pool here, but also we should all celebrate as Angelenos. Blank Theater, 20th anniversary, and thank you, Mr. Labange, for including me. Give them a round of applause for all they've done.
Mr. Garcetti, you spoke so well, I flashed back in a caveman just watching the flame on the shadow. That was very poetic.
I went to the workshop.
You went to the workshop, which is so good. We're going to hear from the founder in a moment, but what makes the city successful is many things, but in basic ways is the public safety, is the public works, is the public health, is the public humanities, as well as public education. Those 5 basic principles are really what round it out, and that's what I'm so happy about Theater Row, but especially the Blank Theater. Now, let me please welcome Daniel Henning, the founder of the Blank Theater, for some remarks.
Thank you very much. I want to thank Councilman Labange and Council President Garcetti and the entire Los Angeles City Council and your terrific staffs for this incredible honor. I also want to take this opportunity to thank the Department of Cultural Affairs for their kind support over the many years. Thanks also to our tireless staff and board of directors who are working toward the Blank's goal of becoming a larger resident theater in Hollywood where all its artists are paid a living wage. This resolution is great encouragement toward that goal. I want to thank all the audiences, all the volunteers, all the donors, and all of the exceptional artists who have given their talents to the Blank, especially one artist who I cast in his first professional production at 19 years of age and has stayed with us ever since. I could not imagine a better creative partner. I'm humbled at his talent, his creativity, and his generosity. Mr. Noah Wiley. I am a native Californian, but LA is my adopted home, and I strive every day to give something back. This recognition is truly a dream come true. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You know, politicians are actors, so I'll be a little actor right now, Mr. President. Is there a doctor in the house? Please welcome Noah Wiley right here. Yeah, doctor in the house.
Thank you very much. This is really an honor to be here. I am a Los Angelino, born and raised in Hollywood.
What high school?
Well, I went to Gardner Street Elementary, LeConte Junior High, and then went out of district for high school.
I got it.
Forgivable?
It's okay.
What am I? Am I Hollywoodian? Hollywoodite?
Just a guy from Hollywood.
I'm a guy from Hollywood. And this is actually my first time at City Hall, which is embarrassing enough, but this is quite an honor to be here, and thank you so much for this tremendous distinction. It really redoubles our efforts and puts wind underneath our wings to continue the fight that we've been fighting for 20 years to make this a true theater town and to really showcase all the talent that's here. Thank you.
But the thing, Noah, is that not everyone in your profession finds a way back to where you get started at that stage. You give back. You're the big foundation of the Blank Theater. Give them a big hand. Thank you very much. All right, I appreciate that. Here we go right here. Okay.
Congratulations. Thank you, Mr. Labange, Mr. Garcetti. Congratulations. Our next presentation, Mr. Englander. Direct from the 12th District of the San Fernando Valley, Chatsworth, Councilmember Mitch Englander.
Absolutely. Thank you. Colleagues, today is September 13th, 2011. That's 91311, which corresponds to the zip code of the community of Chatsworth. Today, throughout the city of Los Angeles, we think 91311. I'm proud to have this unique community of the 12th District Chatsworth is located in the foothills of the beautiful and rugged Santa Susana Mountains and is blessed with spectacular scenery, boulder-strewn hillsides, nature areas, equestrian bicycling and hiking trails, a world-class rock climbing site, and spectacular views of the San Fernando Valley. The community has a rich history and was originally inhabited by Native American tribes hundreds of years ago. And the community also served as a vital connection for the overland stagecoach trail in the late 1800s. In 1915, Chatsworth became part of the city of Los Angeles, and Chatsworth is the backdrop of many westerns from the 1920s. Has a rich history and has 8 cultural historic monuments. Countless community-based nonprofit organizations serve the area, including the Chatsworth Neighborhood Council, Chatsworth Porter Ranch Chamber of Commerce, the Chatsworth Historical Society, the Business Improvement District, Corral 54, Kiwanis, Chatsworth of Northridge, the Rotary Club, and many, many more. Chatsworth's most unique feature is its people. They are kind, brave, active, charitable, hardworking, and they care about helping to preserve the unique characteristics that make Chatsworth a better place to live, work, and play. This is also a community that has seen many disasters. Because of the rural nature of the lush landscape, brush fires are far too common, which we all know, which makes it difficult for large animal evacuations and the rugged hillsides. But the people in Chatsworth, during these emergencies, come to help each other, and they join together to render aid and support. In fact, we all know that this last Sunday was the 10th anniversary of 9/11, the worst attack ever to occur on American soil. But we also must not forget, and we have to mourn, and always remember that 3 years ago yesterday was the anniversary of the Chatsworth train disaster. This disaster brought a massive emergency response from the city, LA, and Ventura counties, and by local residents of Chatsworth who rushed towards the wreckage, risked their own lives to save others and to aid those critically wounded. With 25 deaths and over 100 victims in critical condition, this became the deadliest accident in Metrolinx's history. The people of Chatsworth helped victims on the scene at the reunification center that was set up at Chatsworth High School and worked directly with our first responders throughout the night. On the 1-year anniversary, we came together again to honor the victims, to support the families, and to dedicate a permanent memorial at Stony Point Park overlooking the crash site. Today, I want to recognize a few of our local heroes who every day make the 91311 the wonderful community it is. Kevin Hewling, who you know from Lee Sisters, B. Berman, Rodney Johnson, Carol Lucas, Ellen Luros Ellison, and Vicki Brisman, who I'm going to ask to speak in a couple minutes. And before I actually conclude, I have a gift from Kevin to Councilwoman Jan Perry. And the reason for giving it to Jan Perry is, I think, of all the council members, she spends her most time, besides me, in Chatsworth. She comes out to the Valley often, and when she's there, she promotes Les Sisters. She always visits Kevin, and so I brought a gift as well.
Jan's now a Valley girl.
And I'm about to be very happy.
Yeah, we'll all share in the pie.
So this is actually from Kevin to Jan Perry. They are a blessing in the city of Los Angeles, and I'm fortunate to call them my neighbors and friends, and I applaud the community in the spirit of Chatsworth. And I'm proud to declare September 13th, 2011, Chatsworth Day for the city of Los Angeles. So thank you. And Vicki, give your thanks and words.
Say hello to the pie.
Yes.
Say hello to the pie,
definitely.
It's very heavy. Thank you very much, Mr. Englander.
Yes,
I'm
absolutely.
very happy
Thank
now.
you. And from Kevin.
Councilman Englander, thank you. To all the council, thank you. Chatsworth is a great place. I'm a third generation LA. My grandparents, my father was born here. My grandchildren are Angelinos. And Chatsworth is great. We have great groups, nonprofit, for-profit, that have come together and worked for this event to bring it to the people of Chatsworth. And the proceeds will be going to a nonprofit group housed at St. Stephen's Church that's offering free music lessons for all youth 7 to 19, which, because of the way the schools and the budget cuts, this will bring back music and arts to the children of Chatsworth and the community. And I have to tell you, we have a great councilman. He's got a phenomenal staff. Megan, you are the best. And Mitch was right out there at the train crash. He was right there. I rallied a group of people. We served food throughout the whole weekend to all the responders, to all of the groups. And I couldn't be more proud of a place I live. So thank you.
Thank you very much. And I also want to recognize Dennis Zine, who was there that night with us at the wreckage and came to help and render aid as well. But today's the celebration of Chatsworth. We're having a large celebration today at 4:30 at St. Stephen's. You're all welcome to come and participate. We're going to have a lot of great fun, food, music, friends, and frolic. So come on down. And then we'll have pie. Yes, of course.
Yeah, we'll see if Jan Perry will share that with us.
Absolutely.
Thank you all very much. Congratulations to Chatsworth. Thank you, Councilmember Englander. Thank you very much. And that concludes our presentation for this morning. So let's do the official welcome to City Hall. This is the meeting of the Los Angeles City Council for Tuesday, September 13th. We meet 3 times a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. All meetings are open to the public. For those who cannot join us at City Hall or our satellite sites, we do have Van Nuys in San Pedro. We are also viewed on Channel 35 and Council Phone. We're now going to call this meeting to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alarcon, Cardenas, Englander, Weezer, Caress, Krikorian, Labange, Parks, Prairie, Reyes, Rosendahl, Weston, Zine, Garcetti, 13 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you. First item of business, please.
Approval of the minutes.
Mr. Reyes, second by Mr. Parks.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Mr. Weezer, second by Mr. Caress.
Today is Tuesday. Now would be the time for the flag salute, Mr. President.
A flag salute.
Yes.
Please stand. Mr. Reyes, please lead us in flag salute.
Thank you, Council President. My honor. Please ready to stand. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Zine. If we can run through the agenda for us.
Items 1 through 6 are items noticed for public hearing. Items 2 through 4 are the Sunset and Vine Property Business Improvement District, the Old Granada Village Business Improvement District, and the East Hollywood Property and Business Improvement District. Council should close the public hearing, and the ballot tabulation for these 3 items will be announced at tomorrow's council meeting.
Okay, we'll go ahead and move that. Do we have any cards on the other items?
Cards on item 6.
Okay, we'll call that special for cards in the public. We'll close the public hearings on 2 through 4. And on 1 and 5, if we can take up the roll. Please open the roll and close the roll. Please tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Those are approved. We'll call 6 special. If we can go to the next items, please.
Items 7 through 9 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
If there's no objection to consideration, those are now before us. We'll go forthwith, by the way, on 1 without objection. Do we have any cards on 7 through 9? Looks like we have one on 9, so we'll call that special for a card from the public and close the other public hearings. Anybody wishing to call 7 or 8 special? 7 or 8? Seeing none, let's go ahead and take a vote. Please open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Those are approved. Next items, please.
On the supplemental agenda, items 10 through 12 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes required for consideration.
Is there any objection to consideration? Seeing none, those are before us. We have cards on item 11, so we'll call that special for a card from the public. Otherwise, we will close the public hearings on 10 and 12. Anybody wishing to call those special? 10 or 12? If not, let's go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
10 is approved and 12 jurisdiction is asserted. Let's go to our general public comment. Sean Murphy is our first speaker. After that will be Daniel Guss. This is for items that are not on today's agenda, but nevertheless under our jurisdiction. Good morning, Mr. Murphy.
Good morning, Mr. President, City Council. I'm back now. I want to give out shout out to my fans. I'm back at City Hall, y'all. Our streets need to be repaid. Our streets need to be repaid, and it's cracking. There's a few cracks on Laurel Canyon that need to be taken care of. It was a beautiful celebration of 9/11. And the St. Charles Choir sings some beautiful hymns. We are back from our summer break. We should keep. I hope the parks continue to stay open in the year 2012. I'm excited about I heard about the subway to the sea. I think that's wonderful. I think it's wonderful. City Council, it can't come at a better time. That's about it. That's about it.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Murphy. Good to see you. Daniel Gus is our next speaker.
Good morning. Congratulations on your recently launched campaign, Mr. Garcetti. I look forward to seeing what you have to offer the city.
Thank you, Mr. Gus.
You're a good man. Here's a picture of animals for sale on the streets of Los Angeles. I thought we have a law against this. $300, golden retrievers, Mr. Wesson's district. This was reported back to Brenda Barnett on January 10th. And guess what? Animals for sale in the city of Los Angeles. You're not getting the revenue, and your shelters are going to be stuffed with these animals and their offspring and their offspring. You hire a dog breeder, this is what you get. Of course, Ms. Barnett was advised about unlicensed intact guard dogs on Southwestern Avenue. Guess what? No response. Guard dogs being bred 2 blocks from the animal shelter. Ms. Barnett was advised of this back in January. No response. Dogs being offered off of Craigslist. We tracked down the address. We tracked down the phone number. We showed the ad with German Shepherd pups to Ms. Barnett. No response. Is it any wonder that you're killing thousands of animals? Mr. Koretz, you're a big fan of Brenda Barnett. How about finding out why these animals are for sale on the streets of Los Angeles? Maybe someday we'll stop stuffing the shelters and stop stuffing the dumpsters with dead bodies of shelter animals. Here is the public information request I submitted this morning regarding Commissioner Ruth Ann Secunda. She violated the leash law. She violated the licensing law. Licensing is a big deal at Animal Services Commission, except that Ruth Ann Secunda thinks she's above it. A commissioner can't violate the law and remain as an Animal Services Commissioner. It has to stop. And in here, Brenda Barnett is now retaliating against my charity for pointing out the animal sales, for pointing out Animal Services violations by commissioners. Mr. Krikorian, you are my council member. I hope to speak with your office. Hopefully Emily will speak with me about that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gus. That will close our general public comment. We'll go to items that were called special for cards and take the public comment for those, and then we'll take up the discussion of them. First is item number 6, and Regina Danner is our first speaker. Sean Murphy will follow.
Mr. President, on item number 6, I understand that the speaker is willing to withdraw the card, and it would be my preference to continue this matter for 45 days.
Okay. So if there's no objection to continuation, we'll continue this item number 6, 45 days, which will take us to, I've got 30 and 60. We'll come as close as we can to the 45 days. It might land on a weekend, but
a little bit more is fine too.
Okay.
Thank you.
Closest to or just above 45 days.
November 1st.
November 1st. Thank you. Our crack city clerk is always on that. Thank you. And Mr. Murphy, we'll take that up in 45 days, so we'll be able to hear any comments you have on that then. We'll take up then item number 9. Mr. Murphy, you'd like to come forward on item number 9. We'll be happy to hear your comments on that. Then we'll take public comments for number 11.
All I have to say is I'm for this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. We'll close public hearing on that. Please open the roll on 9 and close the roll and tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Okay, that is approved. Item number 11 is next. We'll start with our public comment card on this. Jay Bieber, if you'd like to come forward on item number 11.
Hi, Jay Bieber. Obviously we're here discussing red light cameras again, unfortunately. This motion is to keep the cameras up at certain locations to do a study on signal timing. The study is not necessary, either from a public health standpoint, which is what you really want to do is you want to study crashes, and that's really the important thing to study, and that's something you're not going to be able to study with a red light camera. But the real question is do we need to even look at this as to whether a red light camera, whether or not longer yellows are effective? And the answer is we don't need to look at it. We have all the data that we need. For example, the question was raised about Loma Linda, and the question was also raised as to what the data was there. We went and compiled that. I have a chart, and I've sent it to many of your staff. What happened was they had originally 4 seconds at a 45-mile-per-hour approach. They had about 200 or so violations. They increased that to 4.3 seconds. That's half a month. It went down to about 50 per month. Then they increased it to 5.3 seconds. It went down to 4 per month. So, and that's also true. They had this in Fremont, California. They had a 4.3 second, which was the statutory minimum. They went to 5 seconds. It went down to, they were originally around a little less than 200. They increased to about 5 seconds, up about 0.7 seconds. They went down to in the 70s, and this includes left turn violations as well, and that light was not increased. So the actual straight throughs were even less than that. So whenever you have a yellow light that's longer to a reasonable length, you're going to have a safety improvement. We do not need red light cameras to tell us that this is a fact. It is incontrovertible, and this issue is going to be taken up in the Transportation Committee tomorrow, and I urge you to, if you do want to discuss this, and that's really the proper pace where this can be vetted. And I thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Bieber. We'll go to Van Nuys for our next speaker, Donna Pearman. Very good morning.
I forgot to put in for public comment. Congratulations, Mr. Garcetti, for throwing your hat in the ring. I hope that you would be good for the city employees. Anyway, I'm strongly against having 4 intersections for the red light program. This is something that should have been ended because nobody can afford these huge prices of $500. This is something that's not even attainable. And the red light citation's been something within most people's means. Would still tell them that they can't run a red light, and it's still something that could have been done. So I don't think we need to have 4 intersections. I don't even know where these intersections are to continue the red light program. I think we should end the program now. I wish you would let me do public comment, but I guess that's not going to happen. Anyway, I hope whoever runs over there, they ask a hard question, and whoever gets chosen is going to be the ones who care about city employees and won't come up with these laws like this red light program that's not even attainable, and it's not going to get revenue. It's not going to teach anybody. It's just a way to have something that's unattainable, and it's just going to cost more money in the long run. Let's get rid of the red light program now. I know Mr. Garcetti, you wanted to get rid of the red light program, so let's not have 4 more intersections that are going for a longer period of time so you can have the yellow light. And let's save the light bulb, everybody. Write your congressman and senator, H.R. 91. Save the light bulb.
Thank you very much, Donna. Thank you for your kind words. With that, we'll close the public hearing on this. I recognize Mr. Rosendahl, Chair of our Transportation Committee, first.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, colleagues, and good morning, public. Look, I do not want to go forward with this motion. I would like us to say to ourselves, we've done enough testing, enough studying, enough of this, enough of that. And I'd like Pauline Chang to come up real quickly, Pauline, and tell us your quick opinion of this. Bottom line is we spent a lot of time and energy on this issue, and as far as I'm concerned, it's dead. Pauline, come on up to the center stage. There's no mic there. I guess it's down below. Let's get her a mic. Pauline, we've been through this quite a bit. As far as I'm concerned, we are not to move forward with this. I don't see the value in these 4 stops. I'd like us to just put this whole thing like we did at the end of, what was it, June or July? We said it was over. And obviously those who got tickets, I don't want to give them amnesty. I obviously want them to pay because it was the law at the time. But this particular motion here, and I might quote the Sherman Oaks Neighborhood Council, voted at its regular board meeting on September 12th to oppose this motion relative to amending prior city council action. And I know my neighborhood councils in my district feel the same way. Would you explain what this means and if it has any validity at all, this motion here?
I believe that the prior council instructions asked DOT to evaluate our practice of timing yellow and all red intervals, whether or not that has extending this clearance time would have any effect on traffic safety. And I think that's the key words, traffic safety. And the most definitive way of measuring traffic safety is by looking at the crash data. How many accidents, collisions have occurred before your change and how many after. A surrogate way is looking at the violation data. But the most definite way of looking at it is by crash data. The motion asks, this particular motion asks that we look at 4 cameras or 4 intersections to see if violation data would change if signal timing was lengthened. And I believe that looking at 4 intersections and looking at the 4 intersections over a very short period of time because of monetary restrictions would have probably very limited use and probably would not help us evaluate traffic safety impacts of extending the signal timing.
Well, that's good enough for me, colleagues, and that comes from the department. So with great respect for Mr. Parks and Mr. Englander, I would appreciate us not moving forward with this motion and let this thing go by the boards until some other day when maybe there's new technology, new strategies that make sense. Enough is enough is enough. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Mr. Zion.
Thank you, Mr. President. What the motion calls for, amend prior council action regarding the termination of the photo red light program. 32 cameras up. First question, when are we going to take the cameras down? This calls for the amending of the motion, and part of that termination was when are they going to come down?
Well, I believe the cameras have already been deactivated.
No, I'm not talking about deactivated. I'm talking about taken down off the poles.
I believe that as soon as we can get the resources to remove the equipment that DOT had installed, we will be able
what are the
to
resources necessary?
We have provided a cost estimate earlier. Let me take a look.
A screwdriver. Mr. Alarcon says a screwdriver. It probably doesn't take a lot to take them down.
Well,
see, I'm thinking we take them down before they get vandalized or stolen.
Right.
Because they're expensive, and then someone's going to come back and want to sue the city for negligence. So let the vendor take them down so they're secure. Right now they're vulnerable to theft. They're vulnerable to vandalism. We've terminated the program. We need to take those cameras down, number one. And it takes basically a screwdriver and maybe a wrench to take them down. It doesn't take engineers to take them down. I can get a ladder and take them down. Mr. Alarcon can help me. We can get them down real quick. But I want to do that before we end up having more legal problems. The fact is we're letting them sit there, collecting dust, not in use, and then someone's going to take advantage of that opportunity to either vandalize them or steal them because they're worth a lot of money. The next question I have, you stated that the program of extending the yellow light with the video camera surveillance doesn't really qualify and it's not necessary. We can do the survey without that, correct? Yes or no?
We can look at long-term crash data, yes.
And we can determine from that long-term crash data whether extending that light is going to have an impact or not. I mean, I only worked traffic for 33 years with the Los Angeles Police Department, so I have a little experience in traffic and collisions and how we can prevent crashes and save lives. This particular study of 4 months, I think it's 2 months, it's $15,000 additional expense. And I really don't understand the data that we're going to be able to collect that we can't collect if we just extend that light. We used to have lights, they go all corners red for a period of time. We've played different cycles with the lights over the years to try and enhance safety. So I really don't understand why we have to have this particular technology to determine if we're going to be able to extend a light and save accidents. If we have all corners locked down on red for a half a second, that's going to help enhance safety. We don't need technology to tell us that. We know that. It's common sense. So I support Mr. Rosendahl in saying we've already taken this position, we've already said we terminated the program. We need to terminate the program and not continue, keep it alive on life support. We need to say it's done, it's over. The commission has ruled, the police commission has ruled. We, a body, have moved. We want to keep people safe, but I don't know if this particular situation with these 4 cameras is going to do anything to keep anyone safe. We have a tremendous amount of analysis. We have a lot of collisions that we can look at, and I don't know how we'd ever find these 4 locations would give any substantial information or evidence as far as the safety. Your response.
I concur with that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Parks.
Thank you, Mr. President. Let me just clarify a couple of things. One, this instruction was given during the discussion of the red light cameras, and we asked DOT and those at the table, could we do this and did it have any benefit? And we were told it did. What caused this motion to be made is that the record didn't reflect that instruction, and so when it came before the police commission, they received a letter from one of the activists who said that they didn't believe this was necessary. This motion was merely to clarify what that original instruction was. And what we were trying to do, because it was 32 cameras, 28 of them would be closed down immediately, and for those who want the equipment to be moved, my understanding, that's up to the vendor. It's not our equipment. And so to say we can go out and take their equipment down, I think puts us in some liability. But the real issue here is if we're going to rely totally on crash data, what we've had in the past is basically we can use as a baseline. But if we're going to wait for people to crash in the future, that's after the fact. What we're trying to do is get an objective evaluation on city intersections based on the 1 second rule that people showed up and made these comments that the world would be better if we extended to 1 second. Many council members adopted that. We're saying you have an opportunity to determine whether these cameras can show you on a very narrowly addressed issue and determine if you can objectively determine if the 1 second or the 4-way red makes a difference. Otherwise, you're speculating if you don't have the objective criteria. And if you're just waiting for the crashes, it's after the injuries and after the fact. What we're saying, no one gets cited. The cameras are a technology that's there. It can be used for the benefit of a city intersection, not looking at another city, another part of the state. We're talking about what can we do objectively in the city of Los Angeles. So I don't quite understand when you say just evaluate crash data, that we're going to wait for someone's injury or a crash and then say there were 6 of these, 7 of those. We're trying to find out, does the 1 second comment, does it really have any validity in the whole issue of our own technology? And that's what we're trying to use. The cost for a 2-month period is $15,000, and so it's not going to break the city, but it gives us data, which I think LADOT would want raw data and objective data versus speculative data as to whether
There was a significant amount of discussion about whether or not these cameras actually create public safety risks. Now, I can't, as I'm not a traffic engineer, I can't come to a definitive conclusion about that, but that discussion has been had. There is that argument, and I don't think we're equipped to be able to say that leaving those cameras up or not might create an additional risk which is unnecessary given the poor quality of the data that would be gained from them in any event. What I do know is that our staff professionals who do this and understand traffic engineering issues and understand traffic safety in a professional way better than I do are saying that it would not be helpful to have this. They're saying that we should go forward, as this council has previously said, in ending this program and relying upon what we have always relied upon, which is the long-term traffic collision data, which should be guiding the decisions that we make in this area. So I appreciate Mr. Parks' effort to get additional data, but in this case I think we should continue on course, end this program, take the cameras down as quickly as we can, and begin evaluating other ways that we can make our intersections safer.
Mr. Labange.
Number one, Pauline Chan, you're a great DOT traffic calming engineer. I appreciate all that you've done. Members, all these chairs should be filled with police officials, fire officials, engineers, and others on this very important issue. But no, when it first came, it came from the police department. Now it landed in the lap of DOT. I do believe, and Mr. City Attorney, do you know what the 3 E's are as it relates to traffic?
Somebody just mentioned to me that it's engineering, education, and enforcement.
Engineering, education, and enforcement. Very good, Mr. City Attorney. The 3 E's. Now, I look at all you around this chamber, and I see all you high-tech people. Data is important. Okay? I got the picture on the camera. I don't like the way we give so many tickets out. I was not totally aware that it was such a multi-$100 ticket that was given, and the confusion between the source, $500. I got all that. But technology is important, and we must use technology to make the right decisions. And I remember too, in my time, and you can look at some people who've been around a long time, where there were rashes of problems. There were rashes of rear-end collisions, so we thought this was the panacea. Okay, we're changing from that. What we do know is education, enforcement, and engineering is key to the success of traffic and traffic mobility. And I don't think, as much as we've been big and bad about public safety, we've never really focused for the public safety aspect on traffic. Even in our public schools, they no longer teach driver's education. Even in our public airways, they no longer have a public comment at the end of motion pictures or an end of a TV show. On the Highway Patrol, Broderick Crawford said, "Leave your blood at the Red Cross, not on the highway." All those messages are important because we're not doing any education. Now we're backing away from technology and engineering. Let's just look at some data. We're stop the ticket program. I got it. That wasn't right. But if we have technology, right now, we have technology to look at more than these. How many signalized video cameras do we have at intersections in the city? No. Cameras. Pauline, we have more than that, where you can look at them in City Hall East. You can go over right now. The late, great Jimmy Tatro and I were going north on Highland, Dennis, and there was a stalled truck. And Jimmy and I pushed the truck out of there, and the only reason they know it's Jimmy and I is the engineer down in City Hall East brought up the camera, and there we were pushing a truck out of the intersection. Technology is important. All I ask for, save the opportunity for data. The red light program has been dissolved, but the data that sits there, let's see what we can do with it. And also, all of us have a value. Mr. Zine, do you think they should take everything down and not use the data? And you were a traffic officer with high esteem? So you're going to listen to a traffic officer with high esteem or a former chief of police? Go for the data.
Mr. Reyes.
Tommy boy. All right. Right word.
That's what happens when you have a long break. You get full of energy. Good job, Tom. You know, I've been listening intently to the discussion, and at first glance, it sounded rather innocuous and innocent. Yeah, let's just get the data and continue this. But after hearing the discussion, I fall, I guess, on the side of saying, let's just end this. I understand the intent and the goal, but the sooner we end this, the quicker we can get to another process, a process that speaks to state-of-the-art technology. We can learn from other cities and build up that data. Because we still have to find money to clean up all the parts that will be left behind. And I think the sooner we can clean the slate, the quicker we can get to a different place and address these issues and use our resources in a manner that does reflect the goals and intents of this body. So I respect Councilmember Parks' intention, but I believe we should just end this and move on. Thank you.
Mr. Alarcon.
And the department. I should repeat that. We should listen to everybody on all these issues. And I think I'm sure Mr. Parks listens to the department as well. The critical issue here is that the public is confused on this issue, and I think that's been lost in this discussion. I get asked regularly, if not daily, certainly every couple of days, somebody will ask me, are you still doing that photo enforcement thing? Now, I support photo enforcement. I believe it works. But it only works if the courts enforce it. It's not that the system doesn't work. It takes pictures of people going through red lights. It's very clear. And I don't, that should not be debated. The real question is whether or not our photo enforcement program can work in a reality where the LA Superior Court will not enforce the tickets because unless the person signs the dotted line, they will not compel them to come to court. Once that information is known, and I believe it's known more now than ever, people just won't come. And I believe Mr. Krikorian's point on that is particularly valid in this discussion, that if we're doing a study, we're really not going to get an effective study, not because I believe that there will be no additional information here, but because the people will skew it psychologically, because they know that it won't be enforced, so if they get a photo taken of themselves, they'll probably smile for the camera. Because they know that you can't enforce it. I also disagree, and I just want to say this. Any analyst will tell you the more information you get, the better for the analysis. And the fact is, we do have crash data for each of these locations retroactively. Retrospectively, we can look at this, and we have the crash data. So that's not, I don't think that's a strong argument. I think it was an argument that patronizes some of the council members, but it's not, you know, I don't want to put the department on the spot because I believe they support the program in concept, but they want it to be a holistic approach as opposed to a piecemeal approach. Mr. Parks, with all due respect, I oppose this because I don't believe the study can be effective for not for the reasons stated by the department, but because people will psychologically not believe that you can do it in Los Angeles. But I'm also concerned that by only doing 4 sites, it will increase the confusion in the field, and people will not know which sites are being done. And also, they've been told by the media, a media that I believe has penetrated the general public's mindset and told them we stopped the program. And to restart it at 4 locations at this particular point, given the fact that the Superior Court will not enforce it, I think is not the right way to go. But I continue to believe that photo enforcement has a future as soon as we can figure it out. But in other jurisdictions, and I say that because in other jurisdictions where they've used it, it's been effective in reducing accidents, and that's the primary reason why I have supported it. Can't support this motion only because I think we do need to move on, and since the courts will not enforce it, I think it makes no sense for us to have more confusion amongst the public.
Mr. Englander.
Just for clarification, I'm just trying to figure out exactly what we're talking about, because so many different things have been brought up, colleagues. It's been a vibrant discussion, but so many different things were brought up, and maybe this is sort of the issue of what happens when things come directly to the council floor, not to committee to vet the motion. But the motion specifically, as I read it and understood it, which is why I was the second on it, was to simply negotiate, that's the words here, negotiate the retention of the cameras to utilize the technology. It doesn't say for enforcement. So the arguments are being made to start enforcement again, or not sure about collections. This has nothing to do with enforcement, nothing to do with collections at all. This body already voted to stop that program. This is simply to collect data to determine if the yellow lights and the change in the yellow light timing have any impact. That's all this asks for. I said, okay, that's worth looking into. The critical question here, which hasn't been asked, and I'm shocked, but the critical question here is, we've got all these cameras out there. When are they being removed, and what's the cost, and where's the proposal? We haven't seen that yet. And since we haven't seen that, and they're still there, and they're still installed, and DOT has come back and said, well, we don't know. We don't have a plan. We don't have the money to remove them. So they're still there. Why not utilize them at all? And I agree with stopping the program. We've done that. But simply collect the data, or at least find out what would it cost to collect the data, to make the determination, to study, and maybe in the argument you made was 4 intersections is not enough information, it's not a long enough period of time. Okay, well, we've got 32 out there. Turn them all on. Don't cite anybody. We've already instructed the department to cease the program, and we've done that. It's been stopped. We haven't determined what the courts are doing, and I agree with Mr. Alarcon and Mr. Reyes and Mr. Zind and what they've said and articulated well, that we don't know what the courts are doing. And therefore, until that's completely resolved, we shouldn't have a program in place yet. Having said all that, the cameras are out there. We've invested, by the way, colleagues, we've invested our money, the taxpayer funds, in installing this equipment. We are the only city in the country that installed cameras at our cost. Every vendor in every other program, from my understanding, in every other city in the entire country installed the cameras. The vendors installed them. We did that at our cost. And so they're still there. We've invested in the infrastructure. If we truly want to get a determination on the yellow light timing and if or not it's going to work at some key intersections. The cameras are there now. Is it worth, and this motion only says to negotiate with, report back on if there is any cost. Who knows? We don't know. I think it's pretty simple what we're asking. It's being confused for whatever reason. I'm not sure why. I do not support utilizing them for enforcement at all. But if you can answer some of those questions and bring some clarity to this, because I'm not sure where my vote is on this, quite frankly, now. Thank you.
Mr. Wesson.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. I kind of agree with Richard. I believe that these lights, red lights, work on some people. Perfect example. I'm rushing to the city of Culver City to take my dogs to get cut and cleaned because I want to turn around and get back here for a committee meeting at 9 o'clock. Next thing I know, this light like lightning flashes. I got popped. Cost me $422, I think, or $428. When I take my dogs now, I'm going at a snail's pace, okay? So I don't question that they work. And where in the other intersections where they know where they are, I, for one, think about them. With that said, in my view, because the court system, the Superior Court has taken the stance that they have taken, there's nothing we can do. I mean, why are we talking about it? What we need to do in this council, I believe, we need to finalize things. And I think it's time for us now, today, to close the chapter on this and wait and see if legislation is passed in the state that would again give us the opportunity to do this in an enforceable fashion. And when that happens, I will join with other members of this council to try to see that we reinstate this program. I commend Mr. Parks and Mitch for seconding this motion. I mean, we've only debated this like 5 times. So what I'm suggesting, members, we've got, in case you've forgotten, we got a whole lot of other stuff to do. Very important to the constituents of this city. Again, I believe that these things work on some people. On other people, they don't. But I think it's time for us to, again, close the book on this, begin doing all the other things that we need to do, and at the appropriate time, Mr. President and members, in the event that we can legally do this, where it can be enforced, I think that that's the time when we have our 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th, and 10th debate on this issue. But as of today, I think it is time that we end it, move forward, and take care of the rest of the city's business where we need to go try to save the world. So with that, I won't be, even though I respect where Mr. Parks is coming from on this, I would not vote for it. Members, it's time to move on. We have many other things to do that actually affect the people of this city.
Thank you. Mr. Zine for a second time.
Thank you. I hope this is the last time I have to speak on this matter. The question by this council months ago and resolved July 1st of this year, the program ceased. And at that time, there was a question, I think Mr. Koretz brought up, about extending the yellow light to help see if that would work. I don't know how that developed into using the 4 cameras to try and develop that. For time and time again, we've used statistics, and the statistics come from collisions. Statistics comes from the data that we collect through the investigations. And I don't see any purpose in continuing this particular project for any purpose to determine if the yellow light extended for a second or the red light extended. The data is going to be collected in the statistics when there's a collision. If not, this really doesn't serve a purpose. So I think that we need to move on with it. But the other question I have is the 32 cameras. When we voted to terminate this program. We voted to terminate it on 32 cameras, not on 28 cameras. And my question is, when are those 32 cameras going to be taken down? It's been over a month. Nothing's taken place. We need to have complete closure to this particular matter. And I had a meeting yesterday with the presiding judge and the supervising judge of the Los Angeles Superior Courts on this particular subject of photo red light and the consequences. And I don't want to go into the discussion now, but I will tell you the courts are not in favor of this program of the photo red light. They're not going to enforce it. And what we need to do is put closure and conclude this program, take the cameras down, and go back to the business of policing and regulating and operating the city of Los Angeles. So my statement to you is, when are those cameras going to come down?
Well, we can, in consultation with LAPD, DOT and LAPD can request the contractor to remove the cameras immediately. That would be the camera itself, the video camera, and the strobe lights. After that, there's infrastructure, poles, and cabinets that need to be removed by the city.
Okay, well, that's a secondary, but the police commission has gone on record clearly, and it was unanimous with the police commission to terminate the program. And I think what we need to do in respect to their decision, the decision of this council, is to have the vendor take down their equipment, and then we will work with the city Department of Transportation to remove the equipment that we've installed and finally put this matter to rest, because this life support of this particular program needs to come to an end, and hopefully it'll come to an end with our vote. Thank you.
Mr. Weezer.
Thank you. I'd like to call the question and put a red light to this red light program, please.
There's an objection. Hold on. We can't talk. We have to take a vote on that. There's an objection. We have one speaker on the queue, and if Mr. LaBonge objects, we'll take a vote on this. So please open the roll on.
No, she answered my question.
Please open the roll.
They're all clear.
Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
10 ayes, 3 noes.
Okay, the question is called. That means it's time for a vote. We have the motion before us.
Read the motion, please.
Sorry?
Have the clerk read the motion. No.
The motion is just before us, so a yes vote is to vote yes on the motion, and no vote is to vote no on the motion. Yeah.
So we want a no vote.
Thank you. Mr. Zine was confused, so I had
No vote.
Go ahead, please open the roll.
No vote. No vote.
Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
3 ayes, 10 noes.
All right.
Okay, that does not carry. I've moved to receive and file the motion. Is there any objection?
Receive and file.
Okay, if not, that'll be received and filed. Yes, Mr. LaBonge.
Technical question for the department. They could abandon equipment that doesn't cost us money to take something down that's never going to be used again, so they use their discretion as opposed to digging up the sidewalk. So if they could add the word abandon, Mr. City Attorney, then they don't have to go through the pole.
Thank you, Mr. LaBonge.
Thank you. Abandon.
Okay, let's go ahead. That will take us to the next order of business. There's no objection to receiving and filed, so it's received and filed. Next order of business, please.
Council has motions for posting and referral.
Those are posted and referred.
There are excuses on the desk. Councilmember Wesson requests to be excused on Wednesday, October 5th for personal business, and that means council policy.
All right, he is excused.
Councilmember Wesson requests to be excused on Friday, October 7th for personal business. A motion is required.
All right, I'll move, and Ms. Perry will second. Without objection, it'll be approved.
That clears the desk.
Any announcements, colleagues? Any announcements? If not, can I ask everybody to please rise in council chambers for our adjourning motions? You have a real one? No? I can ask, does anybody have any adjourning motions today? Seeing no adjourning motions, thanks everybody for standing. My apologies. Madam Clerk, please call the roll. This meeting of the Los Angeles City Council is adjourned. Have a great day, everybody. We'll be next in session tomorrow, Wednesday, September the 14th, 2011.